Greetings to you all. Today we are looking into the diasporans. There are different figures that are thrown around in terms of the number of Zimbabweans that are in foreign lands. The media estimate that close to 2 million Zimbabweans are in South Africa alone, although some then say it's about 3 million. A number of Zimbabweans are in the United Kingdom. Also, there's a growing diaspora community of Zimbabweans in North America, in the rest of the SADC region. But Zimbabweans in the diaspora are not allowed to participate in the electoral process by casting their votes in the countries where they are. In this video today, we want to examine the question of diaspora vote and how the diaspora can participate in the Zimbabwean election, and also look into the arguments that are presented by the ruling ZANU-PF party. The first argument that ZANU-PF presents to the people of Zimbabwe in rejecting the diaspora vote is that Zimbabwe is under sanctions. And therefore, ZANU-PF says it cannot go all over the world and campaign because of sanctions. We, of course, as communists, were opposed to any form of sanctions. But that is the subject that we'll debate in another video that we are going to make. But it's also important, if we are to follow the ZANU-PF argument, that there are no sanctions imposed on the political leadership of Zimbabwe by Africa or the SADC region. In fact, in one of its summits, the political leadership in SADC resolved that it should support a campaign of calling for the liftings of sanctions against the political leadership of Zimbabwe. This therefore means that ZANU-PF has a right to campaign amongst the Zimbabwean diaspora community in the SADC region and in Africa as a whole, because there are no sanctions that are imposed. The Zimbabwean Minister of Finance, Professor Mthuli Ncube, in his mid-term budget 2021, he gave figures demonstrating that Zimbabweans in the diaspora do participate in the rebuilding of the Zimbabwean economy. He said in 6 months in 2021, 746.9 million United States dollars was sent through remittances to Zimbabwe by the diaspora community. In 2020, 288.7 million US dollars was sent to Zimbabwe by the diaspora community. So we can see the increase in remittances from 288.7 million United States dollars in 2020 to 746.9 million United States dollars in the first 6 months of 2021. And it is projected, according to the Zimbabwean Minister of Finance, that 1.3 billion United States dollars will be sent to Zimbabwe by the diaspora community. Surely, if the diaspora community are contributing so much to the Zimbabwean economy, why would the Zimbabwean in the diaspora not be allowed to participate in the electoral process? The other argument which is always been presented when we talk of the diaspora vote is that, one, it would be unfair for the diaspora to vote for a council candidate in a ward where they do not reside, because the diaspora reside in foreign lands. Therefore, the argument goes that it will be wrong for the diaspora, wherever they are, to decide on who should be a local councillor. You know that we are going to harmonize elections in 2023, and the Zimbabwean elections, we call them harmonized in that it's 3 elections in one. We have close to 2,000 wards where we elect councillors. That's the local government election. We then have 210 constituencies. That's where we elect members of parliament. And of course, we have the proportional representation as provided for in the constitution for women, and we also have senators. And then we elect a president. So the argument by those that are anti the diaspora vote are saying you cannot have a diaspora community that will elect a councillor or an MP that they will not interface with on daily basis because they are in the diaspora. That is a strong argument, and it is an argument that is understood. This is why we are proposing, we are making a proposal on how the diaspora should participate in the electoral process. Before we get to the proposal, the diaspora is only allowed to participate in the Zimbabwean election if they go back to Zimbabwe to physically register and cast their votes on the day of election. Like myself, I'm in Johannesburg. I'm a registered voter in Zimbabwe. I will go on the day of elections to cast my vote. So any Zimbabwean that is in the diaspora is allowed to cross the border for those within the SADC region, or to fly to Zimbabwe for those that are beyond the SADC region to register to vote. But the challenge is that because the majority of the people are at work, 1, 2, it is costly to undertake this exercise. This is why the diaspora community wants to cast their votes in the countries where they are resident. Now, in understanding the argument, which says it would be unfair for the diaspora community to decide on who should become a council or an MP in a ward or constituency when they are not there, we are proposing that the diaspora community must be a constituency on its own. We have seen in countries like Algeria that have a strong diaspora community in France, that the diaspora of Algeria do elect one of their own in France to be a member of parliament. The Zimbabwean diaspora can also elect one of their own in the diaspora to be their public representative or to be their member of parliament. For instance, the diaspora community in South Africa should be allowed to vote for one of their own to be a member of parliament in the parliament of Zimbabwe. But of course, because this member of parliament, the diaspora member of parliament, will be outside the country, he will not have to get the benefits that other members of parliament are getting in relation to constituency development. You will know that MPs in Zimbabwe have access to what is called the Constituency Development Fund that assist in developing their constituencies. So we'll not expect this Parliament of Zimbabwe to grant such privilege to a diaspora constituency. So if the proposal is accepted, which we have made, by the way, as the Zimbabwe government is drafting what it calls a diaspora policy, we have made a submission as the Zimbabwe community in South Africa to say, if indeed the government of Zimbabwe value the economic contribution of the diaspora, therefore it must also accept that the diaspora have a right to decide on who should lead Zimbabwe, that is the president. Secondly, the diaspora must be involved in the drafting of the country's laws in the Parliament of Zimbabwe, therefore they must be represented. The diaspora community cannot be represented by the Zimbabwean embassy or the ambassador or the high commissioner, whatever the case might be. The diaspora community must be represented by their own, because the Zimbabwean embassy represents the president of Zimbabwe in foreign lands. It does not represent Zimbabweans in their generality, because when embassies were established or diplomatic ties entered with foreign countries, it was never emphasized that there will be a growing number of Zimbabwean citizens. Now that you have more Zimbabweans that are in the diaspora, they must be represented in the Parliament of Zimbabwe. As we conclude this video, what we are saying is that, one, the Zimbabwe diaspora must elect their MP, a public representative. Diaspora community becomes a constituency. It is up to the Parliament of Zimbabwe and the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission to decide on how many diaspora constituencies are going to be constituted. Two, the diaspora community must decide on who should become the head of state and government in Zimbabwe. That is to say, the diaspora community must have a right where they are to vote for the president of Zimbabwe, or to vote for a person that they think should be the president of Zimbabwe. This is what we are calling for. Because this is under discussion, which we do not think is going to be resolved before the 2023 elections. It might happen in 2028 elections and going forward. But meanwhile, we are calling on all Zimbabweans in the diaspora to go to Zimbabwe, register to vote. You have to visit your district offices in rural communities or Zimbabwe Electoral Commission offices in any of the centers, either cities or towns, and register as a voter, so that when elections come in 2023, we are able to register to vote. But we as civil society, we as progressive forces, we are calling for the diaspora to have a right to elect their MP, the right to elect the president of Zimbabwe. Thank you so much. Please circulate this video and subscribe. Send your questions, send your comments, and we continue to engage on this question. Thank you so much.